I don't have a spirit animal because I am a spirit animal. Stay back or you will not like what happens next. You never know what we might be up against. This should keep us safe. Humans think I'm indifferent, but I just don't have any fox left to give.
What up, demons? It's your boy, Tom Battinger. I was over there, now I'm over here. I got a mic so you can hear me. What you're going to hear is me talk about the community celebration event. Let's celebrate you guys out there in chat. Thank you so much for being what you are and playing our game. And because of that, we're going to ask you to join the celebration. Level up the reward bar to unlock Spirit Guide Audio free 50 free. Absolutely no money down. All you got to do is play the game and encourage your friends to play the game. Right now, though, I'm going to ask you to watch the game. Help me out here today is going to be Anatoly Alexeyev. Good to see you, buddy. Give me one of these.
Oh, yeah.
Bang.
Dynamite, as always, the TNT action. Now transitioning over to the PS4 NA side.
Should be exciting watching these guys go head-to-head. Talk to me about our matchup.
It's going to be Nemesis up against Big Money Esports. As this is going to be a very fierce competition, I think. Looking at these team standings historically, I think 5-1 speaks to Big Money, the way they are able to really start dominating this league. Still struggling a little bit is Nemesis, and you wouldn't expect that based on the way they played Phase 1.
Nemesis has been one of our strong teams. Just watching them come out here, they've kind of toppled everybody. But Big Money surprised, I think, a lot of people coming out here. I knew it in their name. You're going to name yourself Big Money Esports. It's going to be a whole different story. Let's take a look at a snapshot of the league and what it all looks like. Like Toli said, Big Money Esports, 5-1. Nemesis, the previous top dog, 4-2. Ebog with a dog in their logo, 3-3, and Cavalry 0-6. Shout out to Big Money Esports. I like their team name. I like their logo. I like their colors. 516. That's my original area code. Shout out to home. Everything Big Money Esports has been coming up Millhouse this season, this phase specifically. What is it about them that makes them bring home the big bucks?
It's Jelly in the jungle position. It just has to be the way he's helping enable their backline, the safety there. Privative as well is very safe from the mid position as a result of Jelly's aggression. And today against Nemesis, they're going to need that. It's going to be against Jumpah on the opposite end.
This is an exciting one. This is some old school names in it as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned Jumpah and Jelly. So it should be fun kind of watching these guys go head to head, because this is, anytime you watch the top of the leagues come out, that's really when it's all fun and games. That's where the big meat and potatoes really hit the floor. So we want to see what these guys are coming out with. You mentioned Jumpah. We're going to see some Susano.
Probably. I mean, we saw some out of a Porsche Coast. I don't expect Zaxy to do the same out of Nemesis. A little bit more traditional. We could see some Chronos out of him if it's still up in the picks and bans.
A lot of different options here. P's and B's, pretty pleased, and Nemesis GG will be first on the scene. Like that one?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Good observation.
Yeah.
Fans coming out here now as we take a look. It's going to be no Erlong Shen, one of the stronger characters in the game, and no Isis as well. The H has just been very strong here in console, minor league, pro league, everywhere you can play Isis, she's too strong. So banned out by Big Money, and next to her, another mage, the Morrigan.
You gotta like that too, because Zaxy will play that from time to time in that long lane. Morrigan is one of these sleeper picks, and if Morrigan's being banned this early from Big Money, they're probably gonna go for some big team fighting ultimates. I'm thinking Hunbat, Dodgy, maybe some even individual target ultimates, such as the Circuit Last Breath.
Geb, the first selection overall. Nemesis going with a strong frontline selection. And something that you'll hear me talk a lot about if you watch a lot of our broadcasts is the ambiguity, or what not to tell your opponent. You don't want to go up. I always talk about players in card games that have card sleeves that reflect the deck that they're playing. Don't tell on yourself. Don't self-snitch. The Geb doesn't tell anybody what your play style is. You're not leaning one way towards it or another, so the enemy still has a lot to think about. Odin and Hell across the way. Nemesis pair Geb up with a Thor.
Do any players put the sleeves of an opposite deck trying to bait out their opposition?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thought process.
Because that's what you could do here is if you draft the Odin early, you bait out a bunch of jumps to get away from it, and then you still draft the Willish.
I like that thought process.
Yeah.
That's the mind game on top of the mind game.
Yep.
We'll see if we've got any Jedis here in this matchup. Chronos is going to say let's go here for Big Money across from the Ho Yi. Likely to be in the hands of the carries themselves. We'll see if things are mismatched, in the mid lane. With the hell here for big money.
Yes.
Carry, solo, mid.
Probably carry position. You're getting the most levels there if you're getting the solo farm. In mid, it's risky to play there before you get really a lot of items. You're not getting that much healing done. This is like a pick that you just kind of stick in the oven, you bake for 45 minutes, and that's when you can start serving it.
45?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just saying, hell, man, that's a long game. Chronos is going to be happy about long games, so obviously the passive comes into play here. Second round bans, Nemesis says no Party Monkey and no Kepri. 2 carries on the side of Big Money Esports and Habwa and the Vamana. Ganesha is the choice of support here for big money. And across the way, Nemesis will go into the Zeus. Zeus is interesting, Toli. Zeus has been changed recently.
Yes.
Now you can absolutely react to the detonate, Ravana last choice. When Zeus pulls the trucker horn, you get notified, and then you take damage. So you have time to Aegis. Monumental change to Zeus.
0.3 seconds before you can react to it. Plenty of time to get off an Aegis for sure. But there's still detonate after the fact. So even though you use your relic the one time, that second opportunity, though, might not present itself.
We'll see if it's going to be good enough. Susano, the choice here for big money. I told you we're going to see some Susano.
Not for the team that you were thinking, though.
I just said we were going to see some Susano.
I think you mentioned JumpahSZN's name.
I mentioned JumpahSZN's name, but I did not say only Jumpah will play. I said we were going to see some Susano. Call Miss Cleo now. It's me. Big money versus Nemesis Esports. Take your pick, Anatoly. Who's talking to you?
I like big money here for the team fighting purposes. The hell with the Susano, a lot of control and healing, space control from the Odin as well. I think Nemesis might have to adapt by getting for an early Phantom and then draft the Zeus into the Odin.
I'm feeling the same way. A strong draft from Big Money, but we'll see what happens on the battlefield. Big Money Esports, Nemesis GG, Game 1.
Let's kick it off. This is a big match here in PS4 in a Finch and Hindu Man bringing you the call. And of course, Doug is the cameraman there for us. What's up?
Got a question for you.
Yeah, what?
Thomas, who's Cleo?
That's like it's like a psychic hotline thing, is what he's talking about.
Oh, okay. Because like in the in the real world, that's the type of like a Renault Clio is what I was thinking. I was like, is he talking about a car? Is that what he's talking
Did you all have anyone that was like, I guess, like a famous
Mystic
like, sort of,
Meg?
Is that what it was, Mystic Meg?
Mystic Meg.
And you would call in, she'd help you with your your relationships or whatever.
She tells the lottery numbers.
Yeah. Oh, was that right?
She was so good at it too. So many people
She nailed
won.
it. Yeah.
Clearly,
Every single
I mean,
time.
like, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell that's why you're here, Hindu Man, because of your millions.
Yeah.
Millions of pounds is your fake currency, right? What is it?
Hey, fake.
Dude, can't wait for that to drop
Not
off.
just yet.
We're in NA now, baby. We don't have to.
I don't know. Maybe it would be called Brexit books going forward. Who knows, right?
Hopefully you all can get some value out of them. It is going to be Niquid, Ryan Jarman, whatever name he's on over there in the solo lane, playing the Ravana. I thought it might be Thor over there.
Yeah.
But considering Jumpah, I think this does make sense. He loves to play the Thor in the jungle role.
does.
And I think it can be a little bit more involved earlier on if Jumpah's piloting this in the jungle role. So not too much of a surprise. I had a chance to talk to them. Ryan Jarman actually reached out to me and let me know cCoils is just in here for Covey. This is the move that they have made, is that they've got Covey kind of not off the team per se, but more of a bench
Super
role,
sub.
and that they are moving with cCoils. Yeah.
Okay, we'll see how that works out with cCoils. Go with the Zeus pick as well. Someone that had a couple of changes as of late. Sure, damage is still there, but the detonate being slightly delayed now. A bit of a chance to answer that back means that Aegis can be a little bit more useful with it. More likely that you'll use the Aegis in the right time. But at the same time, Zeus is still going to do the same sort of thing. It's not really going to change him too much.
Yeah.
People are still going to take the damage, and it's only ever going to block, well, one burst of damage overall if you do connect the Aegis at the right time.
Man, you add a skill check to a god and suddenly aggro's worse at it. No way. Hard to believe that that could possibly be true, but you're right.
Couldn't be him.
There are some ways, I think, to navigate now around the Zeus a little bit better. There was some bit of a defender's advantage there already. The longer that you waited to use detonate, the worse it kind of was. The easier it would be for them to time that Aegis. And so I guess that part of it's been exacerbated, but the Lightning Storm as a big sort of not just damaging, but zoning ultimate, that's all still there. The bouncing throughout the team fight and the Chain Lightning, that's all still there. I think Zeus will be fine.
And most of the time we look at the Zeus in this game against Big Money here, you'll see Big Money grouped up a little bit more so. Obviously Susano, Odin, and Ganesh pretty much will play most of the front line. So they're going to end up getting hit by the Chain Lightnings, and the Ultimate 2 will come into play a little bit. However, the backline, a bit of a different story there. Hell, and obviously Chronos able to sit further back if required. Will we needed some anti-heal in this game if we go a little bit later. Big Money get their composition online, and we could see some problems for them because they all have, well, a couple of them, the main two, Geb and Zeus, not being able to escape the Odin ring could be a problem for them.
That's a good point. Big Money's draft actually does have a lot of areas that really works. The late game between this Hell Chronos is going to be devastating. Mid-game for this Susano, potentially a rotating Odin won't be too bad either. So it'll be not particularly easy for Nemesis to pilot it. But despite the standings, I still kind of consider Nemesis the favorites coming into this.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Right, because they are the strongest team in this region. In Phase 1, it wasn't even close when Covey was playing for this team. I don't think they've dropped a set that entire time. So despite the way the standings are and them kind of working out cCoils into the roster, I still do consider this Nemesis team quite strong.
I'll be honest though, if they lose this game, Big Money will be the ones going to Worlds,
yes,
more than likely. Only one team from each of the console regions will get a chance to try and qualify for the World Championships, and at the moment it's Big Money with the lead, so they need to find a victory here today.
Those are the beats from Axiom. Zaxy forced those out, and now Jumpah's here, hammer, and no rewind for you. First blood for Jumpah and Nemesis as they slow down this Chronos.
Just a clean gank there, that's all we really saw. Obviously, pressure onto Axiom was good from Zaxy, but he didn't all in commit as well, so it felt like Axiom could hang around a little bit longer, like, yeah, I'm fine. Jumpah turns up, one wall, one double tap, there's your life.
And with Chronos, man, it always feels like you have turnaround potential, especially if you still have rewind. So it can be so tough in those moments, I think, to pull up and respect that the gank might be coming. But Zaxy does great work committing the ultimate there to force out the beads. And of course, Jumpah's timing is excellent, and they get a nice kill. That's not the end of the laning phase for Axiom by any means, but a nice start. As there's a gank on the right-hand side onto Niquid. And Jelly still committing. He's still holding on to that ultimate too, but they won't be able to lock down this Ravana. He goes back in!
Because he's got Jumpah coming as well. Wall double tap, neither connects. You can see how big that Odin shout is as well for the amount of shield he got at level 6 there, just to make sure he's safe. I like the plays that we've seen so far. Nemesis on the aggressive, and as you'd expect them to be at the moment. We just mentioned that this is a big game for them. They're below Big Money Esports in the standings here, so they have to find a victory. So getting off to an early pace with this Thor, trying to make sure that Jelly doesn't make anything happen.
Support Geb is your neck of the woods, Hindu, so I'm going to ask you about these Traveler shoes from mattkoiz. I feel like we don't see this nearly as much anymore out of our supports.
Very situational for the most part of like what you want for your team to have. Cooldown reduction could be very useful on Geb too, as can Reinforced Greaves. The main reason for Reinforced Greaves, the dot damage.
Yeah.
But if you look at the game here that Big Money have put on the table, not a whole lot of dots, it's more burst than anything else. So it doesn't necessarily help you as much. Whereas Talaria allows you to move around just a little bit quicker, and it's also got fantastic mana regen. As long as you've got mana, you'll be okay. You can stay in lane longer, you can potentially hang around with 20% health and still be able to get a shield out. So mana does come into play, but the rollouts definitely speeds those up a little bit more so too.
Yeah, Geb kind of sneakily gets around the map pretty well, I feel like. So adding that extra movement speed on with these Traveler shoes is not a bad call from cCoils at all. But Niquid's into trouble on the right-hand side. The cage comes out, pulled back in by Jelly. And finally the response from Big Money with a kill on the right.
You can already see what's starting to happen here. Big Money wants to pressure the right-hand side of the map, shut down Niquid early on this Ravana, and get Snadows safe in the lane more than anything else. The Odin in the early game, all he's got is a 1-2 combo to clear the wave, but you want him to get to that mid-game at an equal level, at a decent position, without coming in there, you know, a couple of items down to his solo laner. It's not really about shutting down a Ravana, it's more about allowing Odin to get through the laning phase.
cCoils in some trouble now in the middle lane, and he will fall. Jelly has been very active. The initial gank on Niquid, that doesn't work, but the second follow-up for a kill, and now punishing the Zeus. This has been great work from him on the Susano, right at the point where Susano can feel tough to fight.
And Jelly's starting to show the mobility of Susano and what he can bring to the fight already. What I want to see out of Jumpah now is that he's ready for the counter initiations more often than not. We saw it in the solo lane a little bit earlier on.
Yeah.
I want to see it more so. Keep track of Jelly. He should know where the jungle camps are up, because the jungler should be keeping track of the enemy jungler. It's their responsibility. If you're at speed buff, they should be at speed buff. If you're at blue, they should be at blue. And you should be calling that to your team the whole time of, hey guys, he should be at blue, be careful in the solo lane. Guys in duo, maybe you could pressure a little bit more. Keep an eye to see if Zaxy starts to do that on the left-hand side when he knows whereabouts Jelly is.
Zaxy looks like he's working on the Devourer's Gauntlets here next to get some stacking on the way, whereas Axiom is in the middle of working on getting some health of his own. I know we've been seeing Ethereal Staff be quite popular here lately, but I wonder if there might be a Warlocks coming as well to try and stack. That's a bit rarer, but I mean, if you're over here alone, you can try and go greedy.
Definitely. One of the reasons Warlock staff isn't picked up so much is it just becomes useful once you get the stacks online. And then once it's fully stacked, it's definitely cost efficient. Very similar to like a Hide of the Urchin. Some of these stacking items that you'll see in the game, very effective, but you need the stacks to make them that way.
Yep, there was a pass recently to make those items not as good just up front anymore, so you kind of have to actually earn them to get to that point where they're a lot stronger, and that's why we've seen less as Axiom's on the wrong side of the map, but that's the dive bomb from Zaxy. Committed, perhaps he was done with the chase either way, and Axiom makes it out.
Take into account what Axiom did there. I love his decision making actually. He gets pressured so he runs towards them, because last time he got in a fight like that, somebody came behind him and killed him. Why not run away and have to rewind if he wants to? He doesn't have to rewind until he chooses to in the grand scheme, so it helps out.
And it forces Zaxy, if he's going to be committing to get that kill, to chase in the wrong direction, basically. And I think that ends up working for him, that he's able to rewind back out on the other side and stay safe in that lane. mattkoiz rotating in, there won't be much here. You know, you were talking about Niquid over here in the solo lane and whether or not they're going to be targeting this Ravana, and I think it made some sense. He went Warrior Tabi right away. He is an assassin now, not a warrior, so he's not particularly tanky over there. I think there is some potential to maybe punish him.
Think about the fact that Ravana's kind of like a Chang'e. His 3 heals, his 2 gives him escape. Chang'e does the same sort of thing, so sure, shut him down early can be impactful to not allow him to get the damage online and get his items. But really, it's just to allow Snadows to get up.
Why is he pushed up? I can't believe this.
What, where Niquid is now?
Yeah, he knows that they're over here, and he's coming in to challenge. I love it. My man's brave. Maybe he's trying to force them into a fight while the rest of his team takes the gold through the left-hand side. Lightning Storm drops down too, and that all but confirms that Axiom can't compete with the Zeus.
Really awkward situation for Axiom to be in there as well. He would have loved to have got in, but he couldn't do much. Now cCoils in trouble.
Jelly has taken a greedy path underneath to catch him out. cCoils drops the Cataclysm, but Jelly has the better timing, and cCoils falls again. mattkoiz a sitting duck as well, silenced by the Ohm. That's a double kill for this 4-0-0 Susano.
Really love what Big Money did there. The Dharmic Pillars just cut off his angle completely. He couldn't walk forward because Susano was there. He couldn't walk backwards because the Dharmic Pillars were there. In the end, he spent about 3 seconds on those Dharmic Pillars in that fight, which did a ton of damage because it refreshes the longer you run it.
Yeah, MySweetPatato plays that one well, as does Jelly with his initial pathing choices. He makes a rotation over from the blue buff on the solo side, and that's so difficult to find the right disengage from Nemesis. What the best thing they could do would be to come all the way to the tier 1 and left, but how much credit are you giving Big Money on that rotation in that spot? I don't think I can fault them.
No, I think it was a really good call from Big Money. And take into account, just before that, Zaxy had already pressured out the rewind from Axiom. We saw it in the laning phase. And that's one of the reasons Axiom couldn't really contest a gold on his own. Sometimes you'll see the dual laner walk in there and check it because he's got his abilities, he's got his relics available. In that situation, Axiom had to wait a little bit longer than he would have liked. Otherwise, I think he would have zoomed in earlier to cause a distraction and allow his team to rotate in time.
Because Axiom has stayed so relevant compared to Zaxy, I think that might have been a win for Big Money. They got 2 picks, one into cCoils and a second one into cCoils, and the blue buff pressure that they've had on Niquid this entire time on the solo side. They're in a really good spot as mattkoiz blinks in.
Interesting play there. Good cleanse, though, to be fair, from the mid laner out of Big Money. What's his name? Privative? Privative. Okay. I just couldn't see it. Privative. I mean, I like the cleanse there. I like the play from cCoils to an extent. He didn't get anything, though, was the big key. Or did he get those beads? I guess he did. I thought it was a cleanse.
I thought it was the cleanse there, too. Perhaps the beads came out and then a follow-up cleanse to make sure that he was safe.
Talking about follow-up, there's a blue buff spawn, and guess where Big Money is?
Yeah, they're rotating over in big numbers, and Jumpah silenced by MySweetPatato. Good luck making it out of that one. Niquid back towards the tier 2 tower. No, he wants to be here for the defense, but good luck against 4 members. Can't do much at all, and Big Money have now started to group up around this hell.
And you can see they're able to do this because there's no threat of a Gold Fury being taken on the other side of the map. It's already down, so why not put more men on this side? Nobody's going to find an answer elsewhere. The red buff's down, the purple's down for Big Money, so they don't have to worry about any potential invades or answer snapback from Nemesis.
Wow, it was the Warlock staff for Axiom on this Chronos. That is so greedy and a bit slow in this build path. But you know what? I think you're right. I mean, he's been even with Zaxy the whole time. Very little pressure aside from that initial gank there from Jumpah. And if Big Money are going to keep pulling the fighting to the right-hand side, this might be the call. I'm selling myself on it.
You are. Chronos scales so well into the later game too. Warlock Staff does the same sort of thing. Gives you health and power as it levels up. That Ricochet could have caused so many problems if it hit, but you might not even need it with how that damage is going.
Jelly avoids getting hit by Jumpah, but teleport to Hammer shuts him down. A hefty bounty there for Jumpah as Jelly was 5 in a row and gets shut down. And they're catching him on this charge Morningstar pathing that he's taking on his way to Transcendence, so it helps a lot to slow him down there.
And Jelly needs to slow it down. He's been involved in all 5 kills and has the kill for every single one that he's been involved in. He just needs to take an edge off a little bit. There's no reason to keep this pace going. They go straight over after causing issues around the Gold Fury, around the right-hand side of the map. They should settle down a little bit. You saw that in Jelly's head, he's like, okay, I've ganked solo. Okay, mid's been killed too. Next on the list, it's Zaxy. And at this moment, I think it's a little bit too much to be looking at Zaxy. Just focus on keeping the mid and right. You don't have to help every lane. Axiom wants to farm up, as we've been discussing, that Warlock Staff anyway. He's not going to be the greatest use in those fights at this stage. Let him continue to farm. He's not dying too much to Zaxy. Just give him a little bit of help to know when Jump is on his way.
Yeah, and if Axiom gets a Pythags piece after this Warlock Staff, you're not killing him anyway. Not with Rewind and Beads up on this Chronos on the left-hand side, so perhaps he is better sticking to where he is on this right-hand side, not getting a little bit too far out of control.
Good news for Nemesis, though, with the anti-heal already starting to come online. Brawler's Beat Stick for Jumpah in the jungle. Also, you can see the Cursed Ankh for Nickwood, which is a perfect pick-up in this situation. Bit of a shame he couldn't have a Blink, though, but obviously he needs to teleport being a solo lane of this game. And also, you can see Divine Ruin online for Coils. It's not as bad as it used to be on mid laners, where once upon a time it wasn't worthwhile because it's 15 penetration. Finch, 15 penetration on an anti-heal item.
Feels good.
And the power's not too bad either.
No, it's not too bad. Divine Ruin does feel a little bit better to build, though of course still not what you'd want to be building in that spot, as there's got to be some kind of trade-off. Fury respawning in the next few seconds, and Big Money are here in big numbers. I imagine they're going to want to grab this the second that it spawns in, though Axiom hasn't rotated over just yet. They're going to need his damage as they do indeed pull the Primal. mattkoiz and Jumpah all nearby.
Coiz just needs to be patient. It's still full health right now. No reason to commit at this moment in time. Good poke out of Jumpah, though.
Yeah, get healed right back up. I think they missed the Hell 1, though, so they had to settle for the slower hot heal, I suppose. And that's actually it. Big Money are kind of done with this Primal Fury for now. SweetPatato comes back in, but mattkoiz blinking. They're going to drop the Sunbreaker on top of him too. And that Potato is more like a sitting duck. He gets melted. Odin Cage comes in from Snadows. They want to try and find Coils, but Jumpah gets Jelly on the right-hand side. And that is Coils' damage out there too. So even though he falls, he put out the best he could.
Okay, now Snadows under pressure. Thorn's also down. Pressure from Nickwood and a quick spin will be enough to secure him. Axiom gets the rewind off. Gets back to a safe point. Or is it? Because he's in the wrong part of town.
He is. He's on the backside. I doubt this is where he wants to be. Can't find the stun either. So that means it's the green light as Privative actually hunts down mattkoiz. The lone Geb struggling up against the Hell. But now that Axiom has been locked down by the root, things starting to look bleak.
He's just got to survive as long as possible. That's all Axiom wants to do here. Good stun. Slows him. I've got Beads, actually. Funny enough, I was actually surprised he chose to Beads that, actually.
I don't know. He shouldn't have needed to with Jumpah right there, right? Yeah.
Guess he wanted the kill credit, but those Beads being down is pretty impactful, because now if Big Money comes back in with the Ganesha, with the Susano, can cause him some problems if he's not careful.
Well, that went from Big Money wanting to start up the Primal Fury to a big fight for Nemesis, where they lose very little in exchange for nearly everyone on the side of Big Money. It was weird. The good news is that the Primal Fury doesn't go down for either team, so I guess both teams are somewhat happy that they didn't lose too much on the back end.
If you think for the stage of the game that we're at too, to see mattkoiz blink on the Ganesh, the all-in a Ganesh, then Snadows comes back and snaps onto Coils and takes him down. Just that initial trade on its own isn't good. Support for your mid laner, you don't want to have that happen. However, this opportunity is much better.
That's both ultimates committed from the carries, the Lightning Storm and the Sunbreaker, which guarantees the Primal Fury for Nemesis. That's the Fury you put in your pocket for later, right? This Primal Fury, well, that'll help us out down the line. Not like the Oni Fury or the Gold Fury, which give you that immediate gratification.
Something that everybody will forget about. That's what happens with Fury. That Primal Fury, everyone forgets about. It's like, okay, they got a little bit of gold, and that's it. But when it comes to a Fire Giant, if they get a steal later on and strip it away, or they burst it down a little bit quicker, it's always going to help them out. And people will not remember that until, well, after the game, you're like, oh yeah, they did get 3 Primal Furies, so had ridiculous amounts of defense against it.
Wow, Coils is going into a wing blade.
Yeah, I saw this. And I was wondering, I saw both the dagger trees because Coils was going down the same sort of path, and I was like, I wonder where they're going. Relic makes a lot of sense, and he's also gone Phantom. So there's a nice, honestly, Nemesis' like Relic situation is kind of what I expected to see more of this year, because I think Phantom is so underrated, and not just to deal with Odin.
No, like just the tier 2 is just good if you upgrade Phantom. Yeah, not even necessarily.
You know why? It's old Shell.
Yeah.
Everyone used to go Shell because it was so potent. That's what old Phantom is. Sorry, new Phantom is now, the upgraded version. It can help you out a lot, even against things like Thor walls, because your team can walk through your own team's Thor wall, which is quite a big thing.
Yeah, not bad at all. But again, this wing blade, very curious to me for Coils. I imagine it's going to cut into his damage tremendously. He does have some pen online, as you mentioned earlier, but just not much by way of power at all.
I am from the school though. If you're dead, it means you're not doing DPS.
That's
so if
true.
you live, you are at least dealing damage.
But I mean, the slows is good from getting away from Snadows' slow, obviously, but it's the cage that I felt like was the real problem, as Dive Bomb allows Zaxy to reposition back to the tower.
Actually, we got careful here. I don't like him continuing to pressure after the rewind, just in case he gets himself in trouble. Should have fallen back quicker than that, but luckily he got away with it. Rollout couldn't have got there in time.
Yeah, it's not as if he has a ton of ward coverage or that big money or pulling a bunch of attention, so it is a bit of a risky gamble for him. As Zaxy finds the stun inside the Sunbreaker, Dive Bomb for more damage, but the cavalry's on the way. Jelly and SweetPatato considering the rotation, so he has to give that up.
Yeah, and Zaxy's got a couple of wards down just to keep vision around that middle area. Niquid, though, will get a bit of free farm on this tier 1 and bring that one down just to try and extend Nemesis' gold lead. And that's one thing we've not spoke on yet, is the gold lead. Because of those two Furies, Finch, that's why this has developed. It's not because of the kills, because they're pretty much even, if not in favor of big money.
And the experience is even too, so you're right. It's just a bit of outside gold that's helping the squad right now. Nemesis has maintained control of the Totem of Ku, too. It was 5-2 before that faded away around the 15-minute mark. But I don't think that a 2.6 gold lead is enough when you're going into a Hell Chronos late game. It's not quite as bad as normal because Odin doesn't always feel great towards the end of the game, but I still think that's pretty tough.
It's about an upgraded relic each on the team of big money advantage is all they've got. If they actually use that money that way, 500 gold on its own doesn't really get you an item as such. It's normally, what, 600-700 gold at this stage for the first tier 1 of anything. So you're still not really too far behind as of yet. But the next couple of minutes could become an issue.
Time for aggression from Big Money. Blink into the Odin cage, and Coils is trapped thanks to the wall as well. But the Lightning Storm deters any more aggression from Big Money, and Jump is actually in the sky, considering finding himself a target, and that's Snadows on the left-hand side. But a beefy Odin, level 19, makes his way out. But Niquid found himself a squishy hell to look for.
SweetPatato, though, did a great job of the silences just to peel as long as he could. Whole reinforcements back from Big Money, but they're getting low. They do have a hell, however. But where's Axiom going to end up after that rewind?
Oh, he's going to end up in a bad spot. He's over here on the left-hand side in the jungle. He makes his way back out by dropping the stun. So both teams commit quite a few ultimates under tier 1s without finding much of any.
So Big Money's game plan is to all-in dive with the Odin, then reset after that and heal back up and go again. This is what you're seeing here. They reset to the tier 1, recommit with another ring, but this time the Phantom was there.
And this time Snadows is quite low. One tower shot nearly killed him, but he does survive. Niquid wants to keep on pushing.
What?
I don't know how much that's worth.
So
are they re-engaging?
His idea there, I guess, is the fact that they can't really go back and heal out of combat and go again that we were just discussing. But I don't think it's going to be as useful as they want. Jelly, meanwhile, was trying to clear camps, and now he's got himself pinched.
He is certainly in some trouble here now, but it's just mattkoiz. mattkoiz doesn't have the kill potential. Jumpa does. 1-for-1 jungle for support. Likely going to be favoring Nemesis on that end. As Privative still stepping forward. He's got SweetPatato here as well. I think Privative recognizing he's got some damage. It might have been a horde he could chew as Coils works together with Zaxy to find the kill.
Only level 6 you're going to have a hard time. Coils does come back up, but Snadows with the thorns does not care. Detonate me, baby. That's all he's wanting. However, SweetPatato didn't allow him to do so.
Missed.
And he won't be able to find the charge of the tail end. Meanwhile, in mid, Axiom's being pressured too.
Yeah, Niquid wants to try and chase down this Chronos with no mana. Jumpa wants the Ganesha. He wants the elephant on the left-hand side. Silence stops the spin, but it comes through eventually. Axiom managed to get the back off, but that's 4 down for 1.
I still don't know, though, if either team really comes out on top when we head towards the later stages. This is all mid-game. These fights are very frantic and all over the place. The leads are getting developed, sure, because the fighting just continues and continues. But the longer the game goes, you've got a Chronos and a Hell on one side with an Odin ring that's always going to cause problems. And then across the way, you've also got the Zeus, which is always going to be something to keep an eye on in terms of damage output. The focus on Coils has been good, but it's taken them a long time and a lot of investment each time to find the kill on it.
Yeah, this Odin cage is going to be up so often, though, as is this blink now that the Relic Dagger's completed. That was one more Fury that goes down in Nemesis' favor, but I feel like Snadows' engagements are going to be the real big make-or-break point.
So far, though, it's all been Jumpah versus Jelly as they've been the matchup. You can tell because they're the ones with the majority of the kills. Zaxy's the outlier in that case, just because he's having a good time in this duo lane. He realizes how important this is for Nemesis to find the victory here today. And Axiom's done a good job of surviving it, to be fair. Outside of that first death that he took in that duo lane, he's played it a little bit safer for the most part, at least recognize when he needs to fall back and continue to aggress. Only bad news about his build so far, there's a real lack of pen there, which is always unfortunate.
Yeah, I am a bit surprised that he's waited so long to grab something like an Ob Shard into this build, even didn't grab the pen boots earlier on, which you're seeing more and more of. And never really did the Pythags piece either. He went right into the Bancroft, so he used that Warlock staff to let him go a little bit more aggressive elsewhere.
And the Pythags I can semi-forgive if it wasn't for the fact he went into Bancrofts anyway, because sometimes if you've got a big healer on your team like Hell, the focus from the enemy team is warning light, buy anti-heal. So your healing on yourself is going to be less effective anyway. But he's still invested into a Bancrofts, which is a double-down situation that Nemesis get to have it pay off not only for the Hell, but for the Chronos too.
And Axiom, aside from, I think, that early death to Jumpah, has played the laning phase relatively well. mattkoiz starting up. This Pyromancer on the right-hand side has some backup now from Zaxy. Big Money Esports are nearby, but not quite close enough. This Pyromancer belongs to Nemesis. And Snadows takes a little bit of poke for poke at his head.
Going to be a situation now where both Hell and the Zeus want to continue to farm, but nobody else is going to want to do that. They want to fight.
They've been willing to all-in potato all game, and they do it yet again. The Ganesha goes down. That is the Phantom used from Nemesis, though, so Big Money certainly have some re-engage potential.
The team of Big Money are kind of all over the place right now. We've got left-hand side Axiom. We have Privative trying to farm up the mid lane. Snadows wasn't really around to deal with that situation. Sure, SweetPatato gets caught. He had to use his relics too just to try and stay alive around the Fire Giant because Nemesis are trying to force the situation because Zaxy is so high level at this point, already level 20. Axiom's going the other route, split push. Zaxy's like, let's fight.
I think Axiom's right. He's got to force Nemesis to grab the FG if they want this trade to be worth it, as long as he keeps going for the Phoenix. But I don't know if anyone can find the time. It's Jumpah who's managed to make it back to the base, and the FG is done. And Axiom is still pushing onto the Phoenix, even with Jumpah there. Plus, Snadows finds 3 in the cage.
This is what you want for Big Money. Keep the chase going. Give Axiom more time on that Phoenix against 1. Force the fight and continue to win it.
Jelly pulls in 2. That's a double kill. Now Zaxy is stuck trying to battle it out up against 3. At the very least, Jumpah is chasing down Axiom and forcing out relics on the left-hand side, but Big Money came out on top here in this trade. As long as that FG does not go down for Nemesis, which it certainly will not now.
Sometimes there's a situation where I look at like some of these people with sustain in their kits, like the Bancrofts that you saw from Axiom there, that he doesn't continue the trade when he's already at a deficit and he knows he's probably going to lose. You can always go in the jungle and clear a camp to get health back. You can always go back to the lane and run away from him after his hammer's down to maybe try and heal. I'm not trying to say he missed a window there, but he should definitely look into it.
Fire Giant being considered by Big Money, but perhaps it's just a bait. Zaxy gets pulled back in despite the Gep Shield, but they're dancing in the suns, and it's starting to burn Snado quite a bit. He drops the cage, gets back out, and Zaxy is still stuck. No leap for him either with the Ohm, and Privative finds a pretty critical kill, but Jumpah up into the air, sees some low health targets, and it's Potato yet again that he picks. Off the mark, though, with the Anvil of Dawn, but it might not end up mattering. Well, the wall's off the mark, too.
I missed my potato sometimes, and now the knockup is good from Coiz. That'll be another kill.
What? Yeah. You missed your potato sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like a potato sometimes. That's what I meant
there
to
we
say.
go.
But I do miss it as well at times. Sometimes you want potatoes, you know? Good
You
old
certainly
chips.
do. It's Privative now, the one under duress. Nickwood finds himself quite an easy kill, and it has been a bit sloppy is the correct word, I think, to use here to describe this game.
Politer word than me saying messy. You're like, yeah, a little bit sloppy. A little bit unfortunate.
That Fire Giant, I think, was the right call, and they settle for jumping in to try and kill Zaxy, but they don't get him quite quickly enough. I think Big Money could have gotten away with sticking on the FG there.
I think a lot of this is both teams are just having to listen to their mid laners go, let me farm, please. I just need a couple more levels, a couple more items. I'm not level 20 yet, I'm not swinging. Once those hit level 20, which is approaching soon now that Privative is 19, Coils also 19, we'll see more action where it'll be straight on 5-on fights. I do like the split push we saw out of Axiom. I would like to see him, though, switch to the other side of the map now on this Chronos. He's done the damage on the left-hand side. Don't go back there. Head to the right. Tier 1, Tier 2 are potentially available.
This next Fury about to spawn, but Nemesis is not going to stick around. In fact, cCoils is backing with this, so we're likely done with our big objective fight. So instead, we go into the builds. Pen finally on the way for Axiom, though he had Demonic Grip and Telekize, that sub-prot shred on the basic attacks. The Ethereal Staff into Obshot there for cCoils gives him a good deal of extra utility. Pestilence or more anti-heal. Nemesis do not want to let this hell beat them.
Big mistake here, I feel, for Big Money letting this Fury go away for free. We just mentioned the Primal Furies the last time round. Nemesis got hold of that one. Well, here's another % extra on top of that for dealing less damage to you in the Fire Giant and more damage to it. If Big Money get caught with like a member short or something around the Fire Giant pit, Nemesis will destroy it quickly. Zeus and a Ho Yi,
yes,
won't take too long to bring that down.
They should be able to all in it. And Zachsy's gone double lifesteal. Devourer's Gauntlet to Aussie. I feel like we don't see this much anymore at all. Fail Knots are in Hunter builds so much more often nowadays. But this is going to give him a ton of boxing potential.
And penetration too with the Aussie, remember. I do like it because of the fact that you're going to get low and bursted, but there's no follow-up after that initial burst most of the time. A Bird Bomb hits you. What's Odin going to do? Basic attack? Well, I can regen with my Aussie a little bit.
If you date an Odin, you single to me, what's he gonna do? Basic attack?
Exactly, like, get your basic attacks out of my face. Let me heal off you, and then you're gonna have to play the juke game.
Well, beats were forced out from Axiom in that last scuffle, so this Chronos gonna be that much more vulnerable. Still has Rewind and the Aegis.
Jelly should have been at Tier 1 now. He should already be pushing in that mid wave. You can see where he's positioned, closest man to that middle area. Just push that minion wave in. It forces someone over there. It gives you a bit more vision. That Tier 1 being removed means you've got an easier job of them having to play a little bit deeper in the jungle for not having a safety zone in that middle area.
Fire Giant started by Big Money. Remember, Niquid is the one with the Cursed Ankh, and it's mattkoiz with the Phantom. Those are the important relics for Nemesis, as Niquid's the only one that's in the cage. Not too big of a deal if it's just the Ravana, so I like that Nemesis is slow playing it.
Big Money are just too forced right now. You saw Snadows walk up and ring straight away. Just don't telegraph it as much. They pull the Fire Giant and take a fight soon after. Now it's going to cost Axiom his Rewind.
He has to get that Rewind off too. cCoils drops the Lightning Storm to confirm it, and Axiom is too far forward. They're able to lock him down without beads. Aegis buys him a moment, but Niquid wants to keep up the chase, so Jumpah comes in instead with the Anvil of Dawn, and Axiom has been removed. Nemesis need to take a deep breath and reset, though. I think they've done enough already, but Jumpah wants more aggression.
I think Big Money might just collapse off this finish. The damage has been done with Axiom dead. Unless Jelly can make something happen onto cCoils around the back, maybe? But I don't think he likes the opportunity with how his members are falling here.
Privative ends up falling on the right-hand side. That's the two carries now removed. Phantom used to get them out of the Odin cage, and Jumpah Divine 10-1-5 removes Potato. It's just Jelly and Snadows left to defend.
Right Phoenix. You've got a full minion wave coming up as well. mattkoiz can tag for half a century as Geb at this point in time. Get on this Phoenix and bring it down. Then fall back Fire Giant and Nemesis are going to be in full control of the game. They can leave the Fire Giant up if they want to as well. Remember, Primal Fury is going to take them a few less seconds this time round.
I'm not gonna lie, I spent a good amount of time thinking about half a century, 50 years there, right? Centuries are 100 years. I got
that's a good point.
I got there, man.
I'll switch to half a millennium.
No, I don't know that either, Hindu. My math is awful. Well, Fire Giant now on the table for Nemesis, but they want Pyromancer instead. They've already gotten the right side Phoenix. They have a good deal of towers to deal with on that left-hand side too, so Fire Giant would certainly help. But they're passing on it, just gonna take the Pyro and back. And Snadows and Jelly saw it, so they should actually know that no one's here for the defense.
Commit. That was terrible from Nemesis. They should not have all back there. Small window, but Axiom's going to be there now, not yesterday.
It's got to be quick if Big Money are going to do this, but you're right, they know no one's nearby. Teleport towards is available for Niquid, but I don't think he knows how desperate it is that they get here in time. Fire Giant now below half, it's at a quarter, and it's really only mattkoiz that's here. The rest of the squad make their way in. Niquid teleported, but Big Money secure the objective. Niquid grabbed Jelly, but Jumpah dunks in on the backside. Privative has now dropped as well. It's just Axiom left, and he's isolated. Wall comes out as well, and I don't see a way out for this Chronos.
Love the call from Big Money to go for the Fire Giant. Was it a little bit delayed? Yes. Did that hurt them even more so? For sure. Nemesis getting late. They don't get the Fire Giant, but they do win the team fight and potentially almost DS on them again. MySweetPatato is the only man back to defend, and Nemesis, without a Fire Giant to take, may just walk up here with the Fire minions. 3 towers left, 30 minutes in. Dharmic Pillar's down. I don't think Ganesh can really handle this.
I do not think so either.
Zeus ult up. Oof.
Yeah, Zeus ult up as well. Lightning Storm. That's going to be it for the Titan. Nemesis grabs game 1 here over Big Money Esports. And this was not an easy victory for them. There were a couple of points where I think Big Money could have maybe made some plays. But that last Fire Giant call, Hindu, like you said, it took them too long.
Yep.
Nemesis came in and cleaned house.
I think the call was right. Look, completely the right call, just a little bit slow in the execution. And then the turnaround was there. The teleport in, Liquid managed to find a kill, and then it's just a snowball effect because everyone's used everything trying to kill the Fire Giant and get to the Fire Giant. Comes back to haunt.
But a messy game here, this one, as you pointed out. This has got to be cleaned up. Remember, both of these two teams are fighting for that top spot. That means your aspirations have to be beating Hype Unit. You have to be ready to beat Rival, minor league teams as well when you're coming here.
Yep.
I think all this stuff has to be cleaned up, Hindu.
I'm pretty sure if Nemesis find the victory here today, they're going to be both tied in the standings at the top 2. So then it's all to play for. But we'll find out as the season goes on. First of all, though, Big Money still have a shot to get back in this.
That's right. This set is absolutely not over yet. Let's find out. Does Nemesis move on, or do we have a game 3 on the back end of this break?
The SMITE Console League is brought to you by Titan Forge Games, the developers of SMITE.
Well, with one in the books, it's going to be a nice look towards game number 2. Anatoly, we see Nemesis go ahead and take this one. Big Money on the bad side, unfortunately. How do they go ahead and turn things around?
I think they just need to make sure that Jelly continues his early pressure, because both junglers got off to a great start. Thor coming through from Jumpah, and then on the other side, Jelly with a fantastic Susano performance, but I think the global pressure was kind of what tipped the scale slightly in Nemesis's favor. Really aggressive on the Thor, going 12-1-6 on his team's 22 kills.
I think it's the aggression that really speaks to me here. Obviously, 7-5-2. Jelly's not exactly sitting on his hands here, but what Jumpah was able to do, combined with Nickwood's control in the later stages of the game, I really enjoyed. And I think Zaxy coming through as well. This was Nemesis just going pure aggro and saying, this is what we do.
Dealing with the Odin as well as mattkoiz, picking up that Phantom, so important, enabling the safety for cCoils on the Zeus. You don't want to get him trapped in the cage.
Watching Nemesis take this one, I'll be honest, this is kind of how I've expected Nemesis to play in the second phase.
Yes.
Big Money have absolutely earned their #1 spot for now, and I'm not going to take that away from them yet. But Nemesis are in a position. They've got 4 wins, comparatively speaking, to the green team's 5. Should they take this game, they'll still be in second place because of the plus-minus, but that closeness, that's really what I'm talking about. We see these teams come out, we watch what Nemesis is able to do on tape, Toly, and I'm just impressed. Like I said, this is the team I think we expected in phase 2.
And there's still about 5 more weeks of competition, so any wins you can grab now, especially the #1, #2 team, is going to go the distance.
Game number 2. Pick some bands. Right for you. There it is. Nemesis GG on the left side will come out with the first selection and, of course, the first ban. Big Money will be responding. I expect to see a lot of the same stuff. We didn't see any team-specific bans to the later stages. We saw the Erlong, and we saw the Isis, and we saw the Set. So I think we should continue to see some of these standard, what I call meta bans. The Zhonghui comes out a little bit different, but still absolutely a character that most people don't want to play against. The Musin Cobb, I think, fits in that ZK conversation. Incredible push power, incredible pressure in that mid lane. And the Morrigan, that's probably the only different kind of ban that you don't see every time. And I think that's, as Toli said, kind of looking directly at a lot of the players on Nemesis that have that character under their belt. Again, first pick Geb.
Same exact band there is the Morrigan, just a different order of it. Geb is so important for mattkoiz to feel comfortable. I think this is the staple role for Nemesis, because if he's having a good game, I think all of Nemesis are having a good game, especially with the Geb shields that are coming out. And I think Big Money weren't really too surprised as to the Hell selection. Sure. They were still doing a lot of work there, but the one thorn was the Thor.
Well, they take that one, and now a Rose by any name, correct? With that said, I'm not one that thinks that Hell needs to come last pick every time. I think that Hell's a mage in her own right, even with the world of anti-heal negating what she can bring in her light stance. The dark stance is just powerful in and of itself. With that in mind, a first selection Hell is a little problematic, because remember how I said Geb doesn't really show your hand? Hell's the opposite.
It's true. And it forces the hand of Nemesis to go for this anti-healing composition. Not every team has been practicing the anti-healing composition, but how much do you really have to practice playing Odin, right? Yeah. Like, he jumps in, he drops the ring on you, and because he likes it, right? So that's going to be it for the Odin versus Hell matchup.
Of course, there are a number of other options when it comes to anti-heal. We've got a Hoya, Geb, and Odin. There's a number of warriors or mages that can fit into this composition that would do well with anti-heal. So a lot of options available here for Nemesis. Second round ban is done. No Guardians from Nemesis, and Big Money don't want to see strong mages. And so Jing, Hell, and Thor, Big Money back on the clock. They're going to be paired up with Guan Yu. More healing. So, you know, double down, I guess, is the idea here.
Into the Odin. I don't necessarily think it's going to be so successful this time around. You're going to really need to shut down everyone from Nemesis early and start grouping up in the mid-game.
Susano and Janus might not bring some of that anti-heal, but they certainly will bring a ton of power and presence, and that'll make Nemesis even more devastating. Unvaccinator is a nice look, and this is perhaps the first choice that I enjoy from Big Money Esports. I think that what Nemesis have across the way can be controlled by the Party Monkey, but it's just a matter of will it be enough control with what Nemesis has brought. I
like this Thor solo lane, though. There should be a lot of action in that role. If you were going to try to shut down Nickwood, that is playing the Odin, one way to do it is by out-rotating him.
Sure. Could be a nice look there. Guan Yu assumed to be in the jungle because of the way that we've seen the console scene kind of perform.
Could be Guan Yu supported Batz in the jungle as well. There's a lot of flavor to be decided for Big Money.
That's probably a little bit honest. I don't think support Batz is going to come through anytime soon. So the Batz in the jungle, Guan Yu in support, maybe the Thor support even.
True, that could be a thing.
Big Money trying to make this a 3-game set. Nemesis trying to cut it short. Game 2.
Nemesis trying to reclaim the spot that was once theirs. A win here would certainly put them in a position to do so. It's still Finch and Hinduman here, as yes, Snadows does get revealed on his way over. I don't know how much it's going to matter. It looks like they still have all the positioning here, and Nemesis have given up on this.
No, it's Jumpah. As soon as he saw it, straight to mid lane, soaked the wave, get experience, and look to invade the red buff. I really like that play. It's the smart thing to do in this situation. And
mattkoiz is winning
this. It's just showing how strong a level 1 Geb can be. And
well, could you handle a bunch of rocks hitting you in the face? I don't think you could. So Snadows...
And the rock in that instance. Like, I'd be doing the same thing.
Snadows gives up on it. TP's back. He only gets one small. That means the speed buff still there for Jumpah to come back around and grab later on if Jelly doesn't beat him to it. Jelly got his own speed buff. No problemo. As Sweet, what did we decide here?
So his name, incorrectly pronounced by us, it should be Patato. But let's just call him Tato so everyone's happy.
Yeah, taters.
No, Tato.
You don't tell
There's no ERS, so T-A-T-O.
You've never had some taters?
Or MySweet.
Sweet. All right, then if I have to pick between MySweet and Tato, it's Tato it is.
Tato, we go.
Tato,
Speed
we
buff
go.
is finally dropped down and actually stolen away now
yes.
by Big Money. Took a while, but Jelly will pick it up and get an extension on his speed buff, and that just delays Jumper hitting level 2 even more so.
Brutal.
And he's going to meet up with Jelly at the back half.
He might not even get these. This is toxic at this point. Jumpah does make it to level 2. And cCoils not going to come to follow up. He's on the Janus middle lane. As interesting as all this other stuff is, I feel like we don't see Janus that much anymore, Hindu. Is the variance finally starting to catch up with Janus to where he's not worth it, or do you need more pressure in mid? Well, what's hurting Janus?
He's a one-skill wonder for the most part. Like, his unstable vortex is his only real damage and ability. The portals are there for utility, so is the threshold utility again. He's very utility-focused, but confirming a ton of damage isn't tricky. And you're relying on a through space and time, which will either, well, potentially cut a team fight if you use it utility-wise, but if you go for the damage option, you can whiff 9 times out of 10. The 10th will hit and everyone's like, well, Janus is amazing, oh, he's OP. But most of the time it doesn't hit, and you're like, well, now he's just a utility bot. And that's one of the reasons Janus hasn't seen someone play. Not only that, the build choices and the options in the mid lane have evolved, where early pressure is important, and Janus' early game isn't the strongest. Once he's 5, he's very safe. But until that moment, it can be very tricky to get the clear on. As you can see, he's getting help with a Geb right now. It's still taking him a while.
Yeah, this start from Jelly has hurt cCoils now at this point as well. He's a good deal behind where Privative is up until now. So
I actually thought he just spelled his name wrong. That's what it was. I've seen that happen a couple times.
Which one?
Tato. I just thought he spelled potato wrong, and I wasn't trying to call him out for it, is what it was.
Yeah, we don't want to, I mean, there's a lot of usernames out there in the world, you settle for what you can get sometimes, especially on Xbox, so, I'm not going to make life hard for him.
In the old Challenger Cup days of Season 1, Season 2, I just used to make up names with people, and like, they stuck sometimes. Like, okay, that'll do.
Yeah, Tato.
Nowadays, they all want their real name.
Yeah, Tato and his taters, they should be A-OK as Tato's gone for the Talaria boots right out of the gate. Not even a Guardian's Blessing. He can always still come back and still grab it, which I imagine he'll do, or is he just going to skip this altogether as blue buff invaded here by Big Money?
I think the Talaria Travelers, whichever one it is really useful anyway at this stage. As a Guan Yu as well, plenty of mana abilities that you're going to use. You want to be able to spam as often as possible, not worry so much about your mana situation. But with how the game's been as of late, in terms of some of the options that we've seen supports go for, it's not been a requirement to have to go to MP5 in your boots sometimes. But mobility is always going to be big in the game of SMITE.
Tato considering coming through the middle lane, but I think he's recognizing it's not as easy as he might quite like.
Abilities.
Takes about half of his HP as damage there, but Jelly comes back in and returns the favor. So does Privative. So yes, they absolutely do get the better of that trade. Doug, can I see the charts really quick? I want to see if the experience is as bad as I think it is. Yeah, 1,100 in favor of Big Money already from all this jungle shenanigans we've been seeing.
At 4 minutes in, you can see why it's causing problems. Now they're going to set up for a red buff here, though, Big Money. No. Could be a bit dangerous. Jumpah's still level 4. All his abilities up. That did a ton, however.
mattkoiz is right there on the corner with the Geb shield, much needed to get Jumpah out of there. I think they might have given up the ghost a little bit too soon, as Jumpah was able to get out of there successfully. But clearly that goes to show that Big Money feeling that they're in control here right now.
They are, because they've got the Hell and the Guan Yu in the early game, just pressuring the wave. Like we said, Janus hasn't got the greatest lane control for the most part. Hell has high burst in the early stages if she's not pressured. And when you think about it, it's Geb and a Janus alongside you to try and pressure a Hell.
And a Susano even, yeah.
Well, Susano can do it, but he can't do it alone.
No, and Susano could feel a bit slow sometimes at these early levels. In some of these skirmishes, maybe not so much, but yeah, I think that it makes some sense that Big Money are having a good start here, especially considering the way that Snadows wasted mattkoiz's time earlier on, teleported back, didn't lose too much. Right now, Big Money are the ones in the driver's seat.
So it's up to Nemesis to just hold on in this game now. I'm expecting this could go longer if Nemesis can make it happen that way, because Big Money are definitely about the mid-game for the most part. As they get towards the later stages, sure, Hell will become a problem with the amount of sustain. Jing will finally get some crit online to speak of that will cause problems. But for now, Big Money would like to try and take an advantage before Nemesis themselves get something happening in this early game.
Well, Jelly and Tato can look for the steal again, is up in the air. Was Snadows. He lands back in, and suddenly Nickwood is in a 1v3, avoids the wall. But yet again, the buffs are stripped away, and this has started to become real rough for Nemesis, just how much of the jungle they are losing on cooldown.
Well, when you look at the fact Jelly is level 6 and Snadows is level 7, their sweeps at 4. Meanwhile, mattkoiz is only level 4, and the same can be said for Jumpah. They just can't contest against potential ultimates, and Jelly is always going to be looking for Fear No Evils if someone overextends. And Nickwood might just do that, and it could set up a potential chance for Jelly.
Jelly hovering. They'll go settle for those back camps instead. and strip those away. They've done such a good job stealing Nemesis's jungle. There's nothing left to steal, at least right now. So they've got to pull back up, rotating over to the left-hand side. They'll be early for the red buff spawn here, but perhaps they can catch Nemesis making a rotation over to help Zaxy, who's been under pressure.
cCoils was just about to get pinched there. He was very lucky to have the rollout available and charged on up. It really is Nemesis' game plan now to just sit back. They have to. They're behind in the role that you want to get them through the early game in Jumper on the Susano. So allow them to farm where they can. Don't get picked apart. mattkoiz is probably going to drop further down in experience as the game goes on, because his job is going to be have to get to places where the initiation is going to come from for big money.
Yeah, as long as Tato never gets a Guardian's Blessing, though, at the very least, cCoils will be fine, I imagine, in terms of gold. I mean, that's just so much to try and make up from just from stripping the map. All that extra gold you're going to get off the Guardian's Blessing. So, I mean, we've talked a little bit about it, me and you, some with aggro, about skipping out the Guardian's Blessing when you go the aggressive support. I do think you lose a ton this way.
I agree. And I do think that if you do go for the boot straight up, you still go back and get a Guardian's Blessing anyway.
Agreed.
The amount of gold you get from that item is just substantial. Not only in the fact that you get a boost of gold the moment it's completed, like we just saw mattkoiz did there, funny enough, but also you get GP5. Gold per 5 is a ridiculous stat that if you could get, you would have it.
Yes, and that's why most of we see
that would be higher up the
it.
movement speed on the list.
I think so too. Snadows forced into using the Anvil of Dawn in order to disengage, gets right back to the lane. That's the first blue buff that I think Nickwood's going to get to see this whole game. He'll take it happily, as this time Snadows forced away.
Done a good job though, Nickwood, on that right-hand side, just to draw attention to himself and not get picked apart. But it's Odin versus Thor anyway, so there's not really a kill potential situation there anymore, unless we see a jungler get involved.
Did Snadows delay his Warrior's Blessing pickup? Because I can't imagine with all the fighting that he'd be this far behind in stacks any other way. With Warrior Tabai and with Blackthorn finished already, that's what's making me thinking that maybe he kind of skipped it for a bit.
Or he's just having a hard time hitting abilities, because it's very telegraphed, you know, for the most part. Berserker Barrage, got to be up close and personal. He's trying to avoid bird bombs from Nickwood. He doesn't want to take trades with him. As an assassin versus warrior in the early game, the warrior will win that battle if everybody lands their abilities.
I do think that whether or not he picked it up late, he does deserve to lose because Warrior's Blessing is in the wrong spot. Blessings have to be at the beginning. It's tilting otherwise.
They're the rules?
Yes, them's the rules, baby.
God, you remind me of
if you lose to bot rounds on Dota Underlords, you gotta yo it. And if you don't put the Blessing in the starting slot, then you deserve to lose. Them's the rules. Sorry to say.
You're going through the tilt factor that I did back in the day when they used to do it to me then as well. Because the starting item has always been in the first slot. Now and again, people
Death's Toll, put it in there, baby.
Yep.
That's where it goes.
Yep. In those days, though, people used to have to buy the relics. Can you imagine that, having to pay for your relics?
Yes, you pay to upgrade your sprint so you can gas
and it
pedal
went 3
people
tiers.
right away. Yes, I want it. I was always fun.
Funny enough, I still don't know why Heavenly Agility's not picked up as much. It's still at least the upgraded version.
Right.
Very useful, especially in times where we've seen a lot of blinks. I'd take a Heavenly Agility from the whole time to zoom on after that blinking buddy.
cCoils is in some trouble, made it back underneath the tier 1 tower. That was Jelly, who I think used that Sacred Monkey toss. Nickwood has been caught by the wall, but Big Money not going to continue the dive.
Nearly got his stacks online, man.
That's cCoils' ultimate as well. 8 stacks there for Snadows on the right-hand side, fully stacked now for Nickwood. That part of the lane has gone well for him. Almost nothing else has. As he went right into the Breastplate of Valor. We don't see that very often, man. Glad Shield is so often that next slot after the boots, but a lot of these builds are varying from what we normally see as Big Money rotate 4 members over to grab this first Gold Fury. Zaxy does have the Sunbreaker. Wow, and by himself, he gets everyone on Big Money to drop it.
The only thing they can do there, Big Money, if they want to continue that, is to pull the Gold Fury towards Zaxy.
Yes.
Which is towards the Nemesis reinforcements coming through. Ultimate was well positioned. The whole idea was just to force a reset. Good opportunity for Zaxy there just to turn up at the right time and force Big Money not to find a win.
That was a big play from Zaxy. I know it wasn't mechanically difficult or anything like that, but he certainly but he certainly did what needed to be done.
They just do that all the time. It's a normal day.
Yeah, man. Oh, I only have 1 cooldown that insta kills you in the fight. Oh,
we've got to be careful, Zaxy. Zaxy should continue chase on that, in fairness, but I guess he's a little bit worried about a rotation, and there is a Janus on the map, as you just saw the cameraman highlight there. Doug just giving it away. You've always got to be careful of that through space and time can send reinforcements through. You mentioned the Breastplate of Valor as well.
I did.
Sometimes we don't see it picked up And it's more down to what is your lane matchup? Is it physical versus physical? But then also, what are you dealing with in the jungle? If you see double physicals in those positions, it makes you want to go for more physical defense. Breastplate of Valor and cooldown is definitely one of the really good options.
Jumpa does have that ultimate charged up, and it's actually still leashed.
Got him.
So Nemesis just come in and grab it. That Tato ends up hurting him through space of time, clips through 2 to bring him down low. Jumpa is able to find the first blood here in this game by taking down one more, but now he's quite low himself, and Jelly wants the punish but can't find it, so in comes Snadows instead, but Nickwood responds to make it 2 for 1.
Glad Snadows got a kill at the tail end there, because it did not work out for the solo laner at all on that reinitiation. Nemesis did a very good job. Zaxy used the ultimate before, reset the Gold Fury. Next attempt, Big Money go, okay, they've not got the ultimate from the Suns anymore. Jumper turns up and goes, you forgot about me.
Drops down that big ultimate from the Susano. That was so critical, man, to turn that one around and to find first blood for Jump. I know he ends up getting traded out eventually, but I imagine if you're Nemesis, you're happy for that every time. Yep. Remember that early deficit because of all the red buff and blue buff and speed buff and back camp invades? I mean, it's basically been wiped away.
I do say as well, I think the call to kind of semi-leash that Gold Fury and keep hold of it after the Susano ultimate, whether he was caught in the pit or not, was very awkward. They could have potentially reset before the Susano ult came out, but the comms weren't there. The whole team weren't on the same page, and that's what cost them even more in terms of Big Money's gold pool, let alone the standings in this set.
So the gold's a lot closer. The experience, I think, was still favoring Big Money pretty big. It was down to almost 3,000 experience for that fight, and they brought it back, so they are still holding on to some of that lead, and I think a lot of it is with Privative in matching up with Coils in that middle lane. I think he's about a level and a half ahead.
If I'm Big Money right now, my game plan will be, listen guys, this is what we're going to do. Next Gold Fury spawns, that is when we're grouping whether you like it or not.
Fear no evil, and Jumpa evaporated. That was so much damage between the Hoon bots and the hell. I don't know what he's supposed to do.
Nothing. That is what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
His beads were down. It was a good opportunity for Big Money. Now they can potentially look for a pyro. Oh, even a pick on cCoils, but cCoils senses the danger. I would have walked in if I was cCoils.
Yeah, he sensed it with his eyes because of the ward.
Exactly, but if the ward's there, why stand there the way you did? Just walk forward a little bit more. Make him sit there a little bit longer, you know?
Sure.
Step backwards and forwards like you change your mind. Gave it away too early there.
Well, up into the air goes Snadows as Pyromancer dropped thanks to Nickwood's presence on the right-hand side. They're all in committing onto this Odin, but the CC chain's brutal. Through space and time does not create an escape path for Nickwood, but this cage will. He baited out so much, but Snadows still wants to keep going. Teleport to hammer cuts him down.
Full credit to Snadows there. I caught him out of the Gold Fury pick because his engage was terrible, but his timing of his ability usage there on shutting down Nickwood. Nickwood played it right. You've got to hold the leap in that situation and wait for all the CC to be down and leap away. But the wall after the spin and the dunk was beautifully timed to just keep him pinned even longer and it allowed Jelly to get the somersault back up. Well played.
Come on then, lads. What's up with all this double lifesteal then, huh? Aussie and the Devourer's Gauntlet for AxiomSpeed.
Live for days.
Zaxy might be following it. This is a Pyromancer for Big Money and right, which is nice, but it's just not the build that we commonly see as much anymore. You want to get these fail knots in here because it's so much power in CDR. Follow that up with the Executioners. Looks like they're still getting it, just delaying it a bit.
I think fail knot's good. I think the window really is 5th or 6th though, and the Assi being put in there is interesting. I think Execution is still a better item overall. But this gives a lot of everything that a Hunter wants. Attack speed, little bit of regen as well, penetration, all the things that are definitely viable options and important for them. Attack speed, life steal, power, just that cheeky bit of power in there as well. No need for it. There's no need for this to have power.
Hold up. It's tough for Hunters right now. Let us have the items that we've got.
Listen,
come on now.
I know Ryan sat there all day whinging about how good they are, but to be fair, 1 or 2 of these situational items like that are pretty potent.
Yes. And this is still fine. I think that on Jing in particular, I like the fail not being rushed a little bit more. But I mean, for everyone else, I think that this Aussie build is certainly not bad. It's just not what we normally see right now, sort of the agreed upon Hunter build. And Hunter builds are the ones, I think, more than anyone else that get shoehorned a little bit into the optimal strats. They usually have 1 or 2 they build.
Yeah, and that's been something that kind of moved away last season and can semi-continue this season. Because it used to be, crit is good, pen is good, one or the other.
Right.
And that's all there was. But now there's plenty of options for them, a little bit more so. Can they go for an Iqval maybe? Sure. Could get changed quite a fair bit from what it was though, but sure. Can you go Executioner or Assi? Sure. Bloodforged? Viable? Just depends on the composition you're running, the team you've got.
There's the Odin cage drop down from Nickwood, and there's actually no Phantoms just yet. They still managed to make their way out of there either way. and the rest of Big Money grouped up for a recommit.
That was great from Niquid and cCoils, but where was everybody else? There was nobody around on that engage. Great Blink Cataclysm, fantastic Burr Bomb Ring combo, and the rest of Nemesis went, good job, guys, I'm a farm.
But I think they got what they wanted. That's both sets of beads from Jelly and Privative, and the Aegis from Privative too. And with nothing by way of Phantom, well, unless mattkoiz falls, what a good portal though! cCoils is out of there, Gep shields himself and the knockup, but why not? Just head back underneath the tier 2. I think he might have got a little bit too cute and ends up costing him his life. It's 1-for-1.
Credit to cCoils though, and meanwhile, all the while they were chasing down that pick onto mattkoiz, the turnaround has happened where Potato is dead, Jelly is dead, and now surrounded is Snadows, who needs to jump to his hammer. I don't think he's got the availability. Privative and his sustain has really helped them out here.
Niquid's jumped back in, and it might cost him his life here if Axiom can find these autos, but they're tough.
Snadows.
I'm willing to admit, so Snadows takes to the sky, but he is on the full disengage. Yet another chaotic fight happening here in the jungle as Nemesis looked to force a fight.
Would have been a completely different fight if we saw mattkoiz go down there, but a good pull through the wall from cCoils. Don't know how much cCoils really knew about it, whether the call came through of hugged the wall, there's a portal coming, but my oh my, did that turn things around and force Nemesis to overextend more so than they may have wanted to.
Man, yeah, you're right. That pull there on the portal from cCoils was huge. And that's the thing. You mentioned this earlier about the through space and time and how it's high variance, and sometimes you hit the big one, you just remember that. Most of cCoils has not had that big of an impact this game. That one portal was very nice, but still, it has not been a huge game from this Janus up until now. So I don't want there to be a disproportionate gassing, you know, from a couple.
Sure. I think Janus is like a role player, though, right? You put him on the team just in case he can make that play happen.
He went breastplate third item, right? Yeah.
So he's after survivability. I mean,
yes.
It's 4 physicals. That's one of the things about the breastplate options. 4 physicals against you. This is what happens when we see more of these Guardian supports not being Guardians anymore, but Warriors or physicals because they're better in the early game. It makes sense. But then it comes up. If that third ricochet would have hit, I would have called Zaxy for hacks there.
That would have been pretty nice. I am so impressed that Zaxy 2 levels down into a fail not Jing Wei took that fight at all. If I'm
you
being
always
honest
take those fights.
No.
When you're Crow and your ricochets up, you take it, and you can. If he hit the triple, he would have got a kill there.
He would have.
Space of time!
And yet he didn't. Through space and time does come through and clip down Tato quite low. And the Oni Fury has been leashed as well, but Niquid still wants to take this fight. He's moved in and jumped right back out.
Big Money should go again. Yeah, Snadows to the sky. I love it. He should be committing again. 2 big ultimates used. The space and time and the Cataclysm take out a target. Niquid forced to use this defensively now. Another win for Big Money.
That cuts this fight in half, though. Axiom has gone in aggressively here by himself. That cost him the beats and the Aegis.
Hello?
You don't love to see that.
No.
But Big Money still in control, can head right back towards Oni.
Now, Big Money's call to go aggressive there is fine, but Axiom should not be leading the charge like that.
Agreed.
Stick with your damage dealers, your front line. Good fear, no evil.
Fear no evil. That has bought some
Reset.
time, but that's from Jelly. I'm surprised they reset on the back end of that one. mattkoiz rolling his way back out. So is Zaxy. Nemesis quite low, as is Jelly, who's been forced to disengage, but the rest of Big Money can keep barreling down, trying to catch up to Niquid, who's looking for the slows, and Jumpah actually did manage to track Jelly down on the Hoonbots.
Big Money just too focused on kills and low health targets. Trying to walk around and not protect the back line. I don't know, that was a really weird thing. Jelly's running around on his own. He had teammates around him that were busy chasing an Odin, of all things, instead of supporting him and potentially finding a pick.
He's back up, but he is going to come for Niquid on this Odin. There's a nice Geb shield there from mattkoiz, while the rest of Big Money take the Oni Fury. But man, I initially thought the Fear No Evil must have been from Nemesis because of how much Big Money disengaged off the back end of that. Why would that not have been just more confirmed for them onto the objective rather than a call to disengage?
Yeah, it should have been, and that's just unfortunate. Now the Big Money, well, they come out with the victory at the Fury and with how the big picture settles, but it wasn't as clean as it should have been. There was a lot of mistakes there. Both teams are definitely getting baited into the kill-hungry eyes more than anything else. They
feels like it, yeah.
See someone low health, they need to get the kill, and some of that is because these are all ranked, high-level players that see each other each day. They want to get one over on each other. I've been around a long time and I've seen it happen. They just want that one gift that they can show their friends every time they ever talk poop online ever again.
This does need to be cleaned up, though. These teams have aspirations for making noise when they come to those play-in stages later on. Can we see the charts, though, one more time, Doug? Big Money have maintained a pretty dominant hold on this game. 8,400 experience and 4,700 gold. I'm impressed Nemesis, these fights have been this close, considering the deficit they're fighting into.
And Big Money in a good position to do that now. With the Hell coming online even more so, he's got a bit of a pen online to go with that with the Spear of Desolation. But not only that, he's also got Fervor coming in. So this is a good situation to be in if you're Big Money. I want to see them group now. 5-man group. start pushing objectives. I want to fight around the Fire Giant. Force Nemesis to use some ults again. We saw the last couple of engages. Big Money, mattkoiz blinked in, went for a cataclysm, didn't find a target. Great situation. Then you also had Niquid having to use his ult for disengage. Force him to use a couple of ultimates and then take the fight with Jelly's Fear No Evil and Snadows' ultimate too from the sky. It's going to be a big win for them against this Nemesis roster.
You know, I'm surprised Privative was going this hard into Pen. There's really not that much magic damage out there either. I don't even know that you really need the Obsidian Shard. I mean, it's 2 Runic Shields that are on the way to try and slay it. Not even, it was Void Shield that's being worked on, so it's just Nick.
Even if people don't go, however, though, for defensive options, Pen is still useful. It still gets you closer to true damage with your abilities. And a lot of people, you know, underestimate how good true damage is. Trust me, Circuit Ult will teach you that.
It's plenty good as Fire Giant started by Big Money, and there's really not that many members of Nemesis around, just Niquid and mattkoiz. cCoils can make his way there anytime with third space and time. Nemesis, take the Fire Giant. I think that was indeed cCoils on the third space and time, and he clipped through as well. The rest of Nemesis on the disengage. They're bandits making it away in the night.
Big Money just caught themselves sleeping a little bit, didn't recognize where the Janus was in the position of the ult coming through. Always got to remember, it's available on the map. And the 2 things we said about Janus, you rely on a bit of utility. He saved mattkoiz earlier with a portal, and then you look for a big space and time. And the Fire Giant and Gold Fury don't move that much. Specifically the Fire Giant, which makes it easier. And now he's going to Unstable Vortex and force Axiom to use an Aegis.
Yeah, cCoils going to have to disengage here. Zaxy right there with him in tow. Sunbreaker for the slows more than anything. Portal might allow for mattkoiz to get to this a little bit sooner. cCoils used it to disengage himself, but he's still trapped on the back end. Aegis isn't enough, and Privative finds a necessary kill.
Yeah, tail end of that cripple. I don't know about that one. Big dunk from Snadows there, but Jumper's tanky enough to hold firm. And that ended up going down. Double tap. That's just not. That's more a tanky Thor than a damaging Thor in this build.
Yes, he's not going to be probably soloing anyone, but Zaxy now in some trouble. mattkoiz over the wall with the Kev shield. Dive bomb from Zaxy allows the reposition, and they'll have to fall back to grab the tier 1 tower. But this is a frenetic pace from these 2 teams. They are constantly battling back and forth.
And notice this is Big Money Esports without a Fire Giant here, pushing Nemesis back to their towers.
A Fire Giant they should have.
This is the amount of sustain feature that they've got is allowing them to do this. But Nemesis is back. cCoils within 5 seconds with ultimate. This could be a terrible fight.
Yeah, there won't be a blink from Jelly either as Jumpah sniffs that one out. Catches him out on the right-hand side. The tier 2 tower is still relatively healthy as Niquid goes in, catches Tato's dash as well. In comes the Cataclysm from cCoils. Through space and time doesn't do much, but Niquid does. There's the damage coming through from Jumpah as well to try and force Big Money out, but they're all the way on the back end of the fight to corral them back in. Jelly has now fallen as well. Tato forced up onto the horse to keep this chase going, but Nemesis defend well.
Bit off more than they could chew here, Big Money. They had the advantage. They pressured a tier 1, but they hung around for a tier 2, and now look at the state of the map. 3 members dead. And the tier 2 on the left-hand side, the Phoenix on the left-hand side is definitely under threat here.
It's so frustrating, man, because this is why Janus gets picked. Is because sometimes he threw space and times the Fire Giant and steals it away, and that literally turned the entire game on its head, this one high variance play, and I don't think that makes Janus good.
I'm a gambler.
Yes, you are.
He's a 50-50 boy.
Less than that.
I'll flip the coin on it every time.
It's 60, it's 70-30. I'm not taking 50-50. No way.
I'll go your way. It's 45-55 is the closest I'll go, right? 45 being the negative side of your game, 55 being the positive side.
What? No, it's not 55
All
Janus.
Right, 60-40 then. Let's go. 60% Janus is good. 40% he can have a bad game.
Gold Fury now here for Nemesis, who have somehow wrangled control away from Big Money Esports. They're the ones up 2,000 gold, evened up a lot of that experience deficit they've been fighting into as well. And you can see it right here in the charts, man. This was almost all Big Money all game long until a couple of big plays.
Big even game now, and Big Money are top of the standings at the moment over on the PlayStation sticks. But Nemesis, if they find the victory here, will tie up the scoreboard. I believe it'll be 5-2 for both of them after today, if that is the case. Which means the last couple of weeks are all to play for against the other teams in this league. And those teams could cause problems for them. It's not all going to be said and done after this one. But honestly, if Big Money lose this, that's a bigger pain in their backside to deal with.
Yeah, this is a tough set to get to get away from big money here, man. Really, it is. This is one that would have all but locked things up for them near the top, where all they have to do is just take care of the matches they're supposed to win from then on. Instead, now Nemesis have clawed their way back towards relevance, not just in this match, but in the overall standings, as Axiom has been forced to run away. That's airstrike had to be used defensively.
Yeah, I don't know about the whole commit from Nemesis there on that left-hand side. I guess the Fire Giant being down won't hurt them too much, because you saw Zaxy use his ultimate, and Jumper also blinked for that to try and get in range. When Axiom, what did he have to do? Use his ultimate in exchange for Zaxy's ultimate and a blink? Small win for big money.
A small win for big money. Can they capitalize? They had the biggest win earlier.
Another roll down.
And couldn't capitalize as Snadows goes up to the air. It's Nickwood that he's made the target. The CC chain with the wall is good, but Nickwood can always just drop the cage and leave, which appears to be the call. He's baiting the Fear No Evil, but never uses the cage at all. He gets caught out.
That was a really good Fear No Evil from Jelly. He saw the portal and went, "You ain't going through that, my friend." If you go towards it, you're going to get feared back towards us. Really well positioned. It's cost them a lot of ultimates for big money to be in this position, but they need to probably wait a little while before going for the FG. A couple of ultimates still available for Nemesis here to contest.
Oh, no waiting.
They got to be careful about this.
They're going to get things started right away. Privative can't be the one tanking it, though, and I'm glad they switch off. But there's a lot of members of Nemesis here, and look where Jumpah's positioning is. Wait, big money are done with this entirely. They just want the fight, forcing out Zaxy and chasing him down into that back Harpy pit. But there's a Janus portal. I talked a lot of trash about cCoils, but I think he's actually played it relatively well.
Yeah, they're communicating well with the polls too. He's putting him against the wall, giving him the heads up of where to go to. cCoils is helping him out too. I love Janus, but at the same time, I hate him as well. I feel you.
Yeah, I begrudgingly have to give cCoils credit for playing it well.
He's great to play as, but he's hell to deal with on the enemy team most of the time too. Because sometimes he's just blindsided with a big ultimate, and there's nothing you can do about this portal flying at your face.
They pulled big money off of the Fire Giant entirely. They had a moment where the blink was down from Jumpah, where Zaxy had used the ultimate, and maybe they could have forced some fights, but instead, they do not. Now, this is worth noting. No egg is here from Zaxy. That must have been way on the tail end of that fight that this one got pulled out from him, so he is still a bit vulnerable.
Just look at the anti-heal as well that Nemesis have picked up so far in this game. And I like the way that Big Money have been playing this so far in the tail end and this stage of the game. Snadows has been ulting pretty early on, but it's so deep that most of the people don't expect it. And they managed to find that pick on Nickwood, which kind of slowed down the aggression for a moment or two. However, Nemesis are the ones that are trying to answer back here and make sure they don't lose the Fire Giant control. Ward Wars is what it's all about at the moment.
So aside from the Angus down from Zaxy, everyone has their relics. Snadows won't have his second life, though. That back and teleport back in will not be available to him either. Just like last game, we want to keep an eye on who has the Phantom here as well. That is Tato. So that means that the Tato's not particularly nearby when that Odin cage comes out. It's effectively like they do not have a Phantom.
I always feel when there's a Phantom, though, upgrade it straight away. There's no reason not to. Always going to reiterate that every time I'm on cast with a Phantom. Upgrade the Phantom early. It's worthwhile. Trust me.
It's definitely strong once it makes it to that second tier. As Big Money do have the positional control around the Fire Giant, but really not much else to write home about at this point. Nemesis clearly are capable of fighting into this team, and at this point, they're the ones with a Geb, who's about as difficult as it is to deal with in the late game.
Just not sure which team is kind of waiting for the opportunity. I feel like Nemesis want Big Money to start up the Fire Giant again so they can take another fight like that in a better situation. With how Janus has been played with this game through space and times, it caused problems. That's a big pick on Snadows, actually. Oh, but that space and times from close. I think he was trying to predict a re-engage. And I think he just caught Tato on the tail end. At least the unstable Vortex did. And now the Goon Squad's arrived to try and bring him down.
That actually worked out. They were able to use through space and time to cut off Tato on that disengage, so well played by Nemesis. Now they've got AxiomSpeed in the back line, quite low. He manages to get the airstrike off just in time.
FG now.
But look how low he is.
FG now, FG now, FG now. That's what I'm saying from Nemesis. Don't worry so much about cCoils. He'll get back over here when he needs to. Jumpah and Nickwood need to be on zone duty. Leave Zaxy and Matt to do the Fire Giant. Jumpah might need to get a bit of help on the FG, actually. It's taken him a lot longer than expected to. But cCoils is on the way. The disengage has been called for. Makes sense now. It just took longer than they bargained for.
Odin cage down to Privative. That's the target. And like I mentioned, Tato is nowhere nearby to try and help him out with that Phantom, but no one can punish either. So Privative ends up surviving just fine.
Privative did a good job, but now cCoils is in an awkward spot. He needs help soon. The wall is just going to be enough. And now Snadows to the sky.
He takes up with the Anvil of Dawn and comes over to the right-hand side. Really no one over there, but he is able to cut off Zaxy. No wall up to this point either. The dive bomb still being held.
Unfortunate wall, just the wrong side, and Zaxy's still a little bit worried there. Did use his beads, ricochet off the mark, but did catch Privative. He heals back up, still going in his jelly. Zaxy now jumps, but the monkey's there, and it's tossed, and it works out well.
What a back and forth fight this has been. Privative, or rather Zaxy and mattkoiz both down. There's the Fear No Evil from Jelly, and that keep Nick with pin through space and time. Does hit 2, and so Jumper responds with an ultimate of his own, but it's still been 3 for 1 in Big Money's favor.
Overextended though. I don't know why they went so deep for the kills. I understand in one sense that a couple of these targets are low in the tank, so they're hard to get to that stage most of the time. But fall back, you know, you've got sustain. You could have started the Fire Giant a little bit earlier. And now they're all not sure what they want to do is the biggest problem. They're worried about Janus being around Susano. And that just means Janus can do this. Start to pressure mid lane by clearing creeps, rotate around the jungle, clear out jungle buffs, and then the moment you start the Fire Giant, my through space and time will be back up again.
He'll be able to rotate over the fight quite quickly. This has yet again been a match that seems to be lacking focus from me, or at the very least a clear execution on whatever that focus is around these Fire Giants, around these Gold Furies, or some of these skirmishes that are happening in the jungle. It's just we don't often see fights happening this often without a seemingly clear goal.
Seemingly clear, you're right, they're just scrappy. That's all it is. They're
it is
very
a lot of fighting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of fighting, but it's not as bad as I've seen it, and I think that's just me being old nowadays, where I'm like, okay, I've seen worse games, where there's like 50 kills on each team, it's 20
These are two good teams. It's definitely not bad, right? So it's just that my expectations for them are much higher, I would say. And I guess that's what's kind of coming in, is
that's
Primal Fury now down at half health. This isn't the biggest deal in the world, but Snadows not going to let it go for free.
Well, what could he do now? Did he throw his
hammer?
I think oh! He went for it. I like the call, but then again, we spoke about it earlier on. He went for more of a tanky option this game, so now he's got as much damage as possible to be able to swing and find that double tap and find the kill. But the attempt was good. The timing was pretty on point.
It was good timing, but just not quite enough. Pyromancer went down and trade in Big Money's favor.
There's definitely windows like that where I look at like objectives where I'm like, was he at least on time?
Right.
As long as you're on time, it's not too bad. It allows them to make the mistake. Did he catch the hammer? I think
he might have. That's why we're seeing the ultimate in response. Snadows forcing the Anvil of Dawn. Axiom in a battle here with Jump, but I don't know if that's what he wants. He's looking for the turnaround as Snadows forces Zaxy over the wall, but here comes through space and time to bring him the cavalry.
I
don't know about that space and time from Coils. I think he was going for damage over utility option there as well. His unstable vortexes are chunking for about a third of Jelly's health at this moment, but it needs to be more than that because the problem is there's a Hell and a Guan Yu. Both of these have sustain, and there's always going to be a chance that another member of the team is going to be around one of those two. Taking down one of those is the most important thing.
I wonder if Jumpa's going to keep being the one looking for Axiom. He has spectral armor specifically to go up against that crit to help him out in that 1v1, so keep an eye on that matchup as Fire Giant now being considered but dropped. Big Money not all in.
Yeah, and I do think Axiom played that last fight against Jumper pretty well there, but good blink from cCoils.
Finds a 3-man cataclysm, and Tato is in some trouble, forced up onto the horse. Fear no evil for the disengage, but cCoils, the sniper, able to find Tato and take out the Guan Yu. Now inside the cage, they rumble as Privative has been entirely isolated. I don't see a world where the hell makes it out of this when Jumpah finds a second kill, and suddenly Privative and Tato are both out.
I think Snadows ult in there, he probably should have held it in all honesty. I know he was trying to help out his teammate, but it was already dead. It was already dead troops on the field. Give him up, and now they've had to commit even deeper than they should have. If Snadows holds his ult there, they can contest the Fire Giant. It would have forced Nemesis to be in an awkward spot. Oh, Axiom.
Oh, cCoils. See, this is what I'm talking about, to be honest. You saw it happen there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. He had the highlight plays earlier, and that's all I choose to focus on is now Nemesis should be able to grab the FG.
Now it's up to Snadows without an ult. And we saw him go for the Gold Fury early. He's just got to try and keep him busy.
Instead, they'll look for the stun. He responds to the stun of his own, teleports to Hammer for the disengage, and the cage keeps him trapped in. Though Axiomo's on the outside, just firing shots back in. But Snadows ends up falling either way, and now Jumpah's in to do his duty and find AxiomSpeed to track him down. And there's the ultimate. See you later to the Tingway.
No relics. His beads were down, his Aegis was down, his ult was down. Axiom just got caught trying to help out a teammate again. And I think that's where Big Money have kind of struggled sometimes. They've got themselves in a good position, but at times they continue to pressure and help each other out when they need to abandon all hope and reset.
You get mad at me for abandoning you on the battlefield all the time.
Because I'm better than...
Well, you don't get to say it here and put me on the fire as Fire Giant should go down now for Nemesis. They've been fighting over this one for like 10 minutes at this point. Well earned for Nemesis. Remember the deficit they were staring down, 8,000 experience, nearly 7,000 gold, and they've clawed back all of that to be able to take the lead. The 4,000 experience, 5,000 gold, not a huge deal, 36 minutes into the game. It's more about this FG.
But comps like Big Money have put together here, I don't know why they're looking at Fire Giant Sieges. I really feel they should just pressure tier 2 towers. You go to a tier 2 tower line and you force them to fight you there. If they start to get poked out, you'll be fine. You've got Sustain, you've got a Hell, you've got a Guan Yu. Just keep poking them. Couple of beads burners as well. You've also, beads burners in Thor, beads burners in the Batz. Keep poking them out, keep forcing out the beads, it'll help them out. And once again, the Emperor's armor is online, which helps to reduce damage to structures.
Yes, they won't be taking as many shots from those Phoenixes once they're inside that range. Can I see the healing numbers though, Doug? I want to know how much Privative and Guan Yu have been able to do this game. 19,000's good, but actually not quite as high as I was expecting from a Hell 37 minutes into a game. I don't think it's been that big of a factor here.
It's because they've not been grouped. If you notice how these fights have been, you've had Thor and Jelly and Tato for the most part going aggressive and being frontline, and Axiom and Privative have been kind of isolated at times. That's how Hell got picked before, is she got left on her own. You should be hugging your Hell, you should be protecting them, because they can sustain you back up at the same time as you can keep her alive.
Snadows in the sky, and he will come down on the Zaxy on the left-hand side. He's been knocked up, though, by mattkoiz, and that engagement was over before it began. Not much chance of finding anything other than relics there as mattkoiz looked for the Cataclysm, but Tato was ready. Guan Yu ultimate gets him out.
Ult for ult was a good trade overall. I think Koi's timing was perfect, but it was really nicely timed by Tato just to reset that. He'll be fine as well. His cooldown should be a little bit better to have his ultimate back up soon, but Nemesis on the siege, and Big Money just can't rally as a team here.
And Privative is definitely the target. Good job by Nickwood dropping the cage on him that forced out a Phantom in response from Tato. Now the rest of the team can make the left side Phoenix their target as two are knocked out by Jump on the right-hand side, and Snadows ends up falling.
Set up so nicely as well. I think the knock-up actually came through. It could have come
was it cCoils?
Right? Yeah. I think it was cCoils. Maybe it was jumping with the ult, actually. Tell a lie. Yeah. That knock-up just kept
whoever
him
it was, it was very good.
Yes, it kept him just trapped when he threw the hammer too, so Snadows had no escape. And now with one Phoenix down, the siege becomes even easier for Nemesis to go again.
And there's no relics for Privative at all in this next engage. He's a sitting duck. If Nickwood has the cage as well to lock him inside, so this hell positioning is going to have to be nearly flawless if Privative wants to make his way through. Fear No Evil isolates mattkoiz, and the first kill comes through. Nickwood responds with a cage, and that's just to slow down the aggression. But Tato takes quite a bit of damage too as Zaxy cuts him down.
Zaxy's dealing a lot of damage at this stage as well with this build he's got online. The front line is getting shredded. cCoils is overextended, and cCoils is probably going to pay for that. He was trying to shotgun Axiom, but it was a nice play from Jelly to answer that back and punish him for his overaggression.
Well, I find myself going back to the statement earlier about Janus and the high variance in terms of his results, as they only get the left side Phoenix. Yes, Hindu, he's winning.
That's all that matters.
No, it is not.
Yeah,
it absolutely isn't. Axiom blows up Zaxy in the back end of that Aegis timing. Well-timed shot from him with the explosive bolts, and suddenly Big Money are able to make a reverse push. They got a lot of work to do, still a tier 2 tower to chew through, but this should be big.
Should be a middle Phoenix here. I'm pretty sure they could get it. It's only Jumper and Nickwood alive for another 20 plus seconds. Easy middle Phoenix. I don't want him turning around. Go for the middle Phoenix first.
They grab this mid tier 2. That was a bit slower than they might have expected. Axiom does have the Aussie that is some pin onto the structure, but not as much as you might want. Nickwood tries to slow things down with that cage, but without minions, the backdoor protections are here in full force. Fear No Evil to force Jump away on the right-hand side, but the mid Phoenix is still standing. Nickwood dunks Jelly, flattens him completely out of the game.
2 members go on targets, 2 members go on the Phoenix. All on one. I don't think you split the difference, and that's what cost them so much now. With Cursed down, Privative's dead.
Yeah, Privative might be in some trouble too, but Nickwood a little bit too slow to keep up the chase. It's Axiom who falls to Jump up through space in time. Hits Privative just barely for the last bit of damage, and that means Nemesis can go for the reverse push. Just Snadows and Tato for the next 43 seconds to try and hold off all of Nemesis.
And don't forget, there's a 5-minion wave pouring on the left-hand side any moment now. Probably 2, actually, so they can just siege up this middle one.
They don't even need this mid Phoenix, I don't think.
They don't, but they could potentially go for it if they want to. Instead, they're going to go for the end down the left-hand side.
They certainly can. Tato and Snadows, they've got it all to do if they want to keep this game standing and get time for Jelly to make it back in. He might have Fear No Evil for once he respawns, but that's only if he ends up making it. Snadows pulled back in by Jumpah, and the damage coming through in full force. Actually, a pretty good ultimate from Nickwood to stop the peel there from Tato, and now it's all in onto the Titan. Nemesis want to keep their chances of making it towards the play-in stages alive with all 5 members here. Snadows falls, Tato down as well, and Nemesis grab it 2-0 over Big Money.
Well, you look back at games, Finch, and Nemesis came into this needing the victory today, and they find it, and that's the most important thing for them.
Yeah.
Even if it is scrappy, even if it is messy at the tail end, you at least find the victory. And normally at this stage of the season, it's normally tied up on the console divisions, but on PlayStation and the North American side, not the case. It's all square.
Yes, it is incredibly close over here in PS4 North America. One of the few regions, kind of to your point, that's still going to be competitive here because I believe Arrival all but locked it up earlier with their win that they got over Daba's Disciples, and Hype Unit have been far and away over there too. So PS4, NA, and EU, still worth keeping an eye on.
Big Money are a good team, though. The one thing they're having an issue with is when they change their composition, they need to adjust their play styles in the way they do team fights. You don't need to go around objectives with a team like that. Push it down mid, but when you push it down mid, work as a unit to do so.
Ends up with 23,000 healing there for Privative. I imagine it might have been a little bit more than that one when he factor was able to do there for himself at the very least, but these are just, I guess, not the numbers that you're looking for with a Guan Yu and a Hell in terms of your sustain.
I definitely do look at the fact, though, that if you take Janus' damage, he nullified Janus' damage, but with the amount of healing he did. But
right.
How effective was it? Well, clearly, Janus was more impactful.
Yes, in that game, though, I'm still going to make the argument that's a little bit too high variance. Either way, Hindu Man, that's going to do it for us. With PS4 NA, congrats to Nemesis for being able to grab that win. We still have Xbox NA, though, on its way. Give us a quick moment, and we'll be right back.
We will.